Brownell. She's the host of the Coin Stories podcast. Natalie, great to have you here. We see you on Outnumbered. We saw you on Outnumbered earlier, and we hear you talking about all things the economy at a point in time when there's a modern way to look at how we can invest in a pretty complicated market environment, but you have a unique way of looking at things. Your reaction to the news here and how people can sort of play this.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. What's sad is that we can't save in this country anymore. Savings have been destroyed by inflation, and really it's not new. It's just been accelerated as the result of the pandemic and more money printing. And the truth is, our economy cannot sustain high interest rates. We've had monetary policy over the last several decades that have flowed free money to capital markets, and all that's done is created a ton of wealth concentration. So it's really no surprise that we have these sort of populist uprisings and people feeling frustrated. They want some of the power back and they're looking for a political savior. But the truth is, the problem started with the Federal Reserve keeping interest rates artificially low and not allowing free market capitalism to take hold.
Government spending hasn't helped anything either.
Absolutely.
But the thing is you have a White House that likes to come out and tout when the wages go up, because wages have been going up under the current administration. You can look at a chart and they're like this. However, as the Wall Street Journal put out today, inflation's more like this. So what good are those rising wages if they're getting gobbled up by inflation? In fact, those rising wages, you can make the case, are exacerbating the inflationary environment. This is some of the sound that we're hearing from some of those big name CEOs on where they see this economy going next. Listen.
I'm expecting a more challenging 2023, certainly in Europe, but I think globally. I think we are headed into probably a hopefully minor recession in the U.S. and probably a more significant recession in Europe.
We are seeing that the volume decline in every segment around the world. The weekly numbers are not looking so good. So we just assume at this point that the economic conditions are not going to be good.
So people have already taken a hit to their 401ks. They already see that, it's going to take a while for things to get better. But there's one thing about investing is there's a buyer and a seller for everything. And there's always an alternative way to address your financial situation. You're big into Bitcoin. This is really about what your podcast is about and your expertise. So how do you use your expertise in that and look at this current environment?
Well, it's exactly that. It's an alternative parallel system to escape some of the ravages that this monetary policy has created, again, in wealth concentration. I want to talk a little bit about why young people are so passionate about crypto. It is a revolution because we want to burn the current system down. It is one in which we don't have a seat at the table. Houses are too expensive, stocks are too expensive, and the valuations don't match the earnings of the companies. We've got, probably 25% of companies right now are zombies. They rely on easy money and cheap financing, and that's not a way to create prosperity for everyone. I think our current financial system is so divorced from the original values from the founding fathers of this country: individualism, achievement, freedom. And so we want to bring about freedom money, one that's divorced from the state, one that you control, and you control your own wealth, you control your own destiny financially. And that's why so many of us are passionate about it, because it is the first form of money that's truly decoupled from the state. It is decentralized, just like the internet, and it's scarce.
And I would say, if you haven't read up on it or gotten into it, you should, because you can't ignore it. It's a growing industry, that is for sure. Real quick, I want to finish off with the Dow, because there's some serious reaction going on. And look at that intraday chart of the Dow. It's sort of kind of hung out in positive territory till the Fed decision came out, and it immediately went lower by a couple hundred points when the Fed announced what it was expected to announce, a 3/4 basis point hike. It stayed down, and then, Natalie, look at this. It's turned around, and a lot of that is because Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell is speaking right now, and I believe that he's talking a little bit more optimistically about the future of the economy and that he believes he can get inflation under control.
Well, right, he has to, because we're teetering on the brink of economic collapse. We see a global deleveraging that's bringing down assets, especially risk-on assets. And right now he has to, thread the needle a little bit. And they're always trying to make it sound better than it is. The truth is, we're barreling further and further into a recession. So many lagging indicators, including unemployment and housing sales that are slowing down more and more. I mean, they created this problem, and now they're trying to fix it. But the problem is, they're eventually going to have to step in, and they always print. We have to, because of the debt. And so that's why a lot of people are looking for an exit out of this system.
Really interesting.